right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Cheyenne, and I am a mom, wife, rancher, nurse, business owner, and sometimes a chicken with my head cut off. So, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me. My husband and I have been on a budgeting journey trying to decrease debt and just not have to live paycheck to paycheck and just be financially stable, financially free. So in that time, we've been able to pay down $30,000 worth of debt in the last 6 to 9 months. And we are just working on not getting back into any more debt by working on saving money and using a zero-based budget. And by zero-based budget, that means every single dollar that you have coming in has a job and you are giving it a job, as in it's assigned to a bill or to groceries or to a savings or to debt. Okay. So today I'm going to just walk you through how you set this up on a calendar with your fixed expenses. And fixed expenses are your bills every month. So things like your insurance or your car payment or your rent and mortgage, your internet bill, your phone bill, those are things that are fixed expenses, okay? So when you are trying to figure that out and figure out where your money goes, you first want to know, when do I get paid? So if you're getting paid every 2 weeks, then you would want to write that down, right? So I'm going to highlight each payday a different color. Okay, so we'll do blue, yellow, and then we'll do pink. All right, so each payday is a different color. So that means anytime a bill is highlighted in one of these colors, it's going to be paid by that paycheck, right? Okay, so if we get paid on Friday here, that means these 2 weeks are going to be covered by these bills, okay? So for the blue, we're going to highlight all of these bills. My air conditioner is still blowing in cold air even though it's turned off, or blowing in air even though it's turned off. Okay, and then for the yellow paycheck, we're going to highlight these bills in yellow. And then this paycheck down here in pink, this would go on to the next month, right? So on the next month, we would then write our bills for these 2 weeks and we would highlight those pink, and that would be for this paycheck. Okay, so now that we have our bills laid out, let's just say that each payday we're getting $1,000. Okay, so $1,000 here, $1,000 here. And then let's just say that bill is $50. This one's $100. This one's $150. And we'll say 50. Okay, and then down here, let's say we have a $100 bill, an $800 bill, a $50 bill, and a $200 bill. All right, so you may be looking at this yellow section and say, well, Cheyenne, you have over $1,000 worth of bills in your yellow paycheck. Well, you would be correct. So this is where writing this all out is very, very important. So if we look at our blue paycheck, we have, let's see, we've got 150, 2, 300, 350. Okay, so we have $350 worth of bills. So let's write bills, and we'll write 350. Whoops, 350. Okay, let's just give that a little highlight because I love highlighting. Okay, so now if we go down to our yellow row, we have 800, 900, 1,150, $1,150. Well, shoot, we are now in the negative on our bills. But look up here, we only have $350 of bills, right? So this is where the cash stuffing method comes in great use. So if you know that you only have $350 coming out of this paycheck for bills, you can then take cash out and or put cash aside or put money aside into a separate account or just not touch that money for these next bills and know that you need to set some money aside for this bill, especially this big $800 one, right? So we could either break this down into 3 paychecks, okay, or 2 paychecks. And so we could do 400, set aside 400 one paycheck and then 400 the next paycheck. All right, so if we did that, this would go to 750. Okay, and then we had what? 1150 minus 400. This one would also then be 750. So then you're working with 750 in fixed expenses each month. So now you can break down what you have left over for variable expenses. So we would have $250 left over. So we could use $250 for things like groceries, eating out, coffee. Maybe we need household things like toilet paper, shampoo, cleaning supplies, whatever. We can break that $250 down into that. And then whatever we would have left over, we would then want to put into either savings and debt or both. Okay. So there's a couple ways that you can break that down. First of all, you can just use a pen and paper, kind of like what we're doing here, and make specific categories. Or you can use different trackers. So you can use things like this. This is from the Budget Mom, and this is her budget by paycheck tracker. So you would write your income up here, then you would write your fixed expenses out, your variable expenses, again, things like groceries, household, cleaning supplies, etc. Then you would write your savings goals. And so these can be things like your sinking funds. So you can do things like Christmas. You could have a household sinking fund. You could have like a furniture, a house repair, a car sinking fund. So if you need things like to renew your car registration or your car insurance or things like that, that can be a sinking funds. And then debt, and this is where you would put things like your credit card or your car payment or potentially your house payment, medical bills, whatever debt you have, student loans, things like that, you can put in your debt category. Now, some of these fixed expenses and debt are going to be the same, right? Because you may have a credit card bill every month, but then that also falls into debt. So this is where whatever you have left over after you figure out all this, you're putting that extra money towards your debt. So if we had $50 left over after filling out this tracker, we could put $50 on a credit card if we had a credit card, or 50 extra dollars towards our loan payment after we already paid our minimum payment. And so that's kind of how you get on top of your debt and get more paid off. So now if you are always in the negative, so if you broke this down and you were negative, so say we were negative both times, right? Say we had 1,150 in both paychecks. Well, we're only getting $2,000, right? So we have $2,000 to work with, and then we have 1,150 one paycheck and 1,150 the next. Well, here, let's do that again. So we have $2,000, right, that we're receiving, and then we have 1,150 in bills one month, and then 1,150 the next, or paycheck, excuse me. We're negative $300. So now we have no money for groceries, no money for toilet paper. So where can we cut out bills? Okay. So that's where it's very important to look at this and break it all down, because we may, this $50 here, say this is a gym membership. Well, we may need to cancel our gym membership for a while. Say this $50 is our, say we have another subscription of some sort. Well, we may want to cut that out. Say this $100 is our TV. Well, let's say we cut all of those out. We're already saving $200 every month because we cut those out for a while. Okay, so we would want to figure out where we could cut expenses and or where we can make some more money. So maybe we need another job. Maybe we need to sell some things like some extra clothes we don't need or shoes we don't need. Maybe we have 4 cars and we don't need 4 cars, right? Look at what you have going on and where you can make money to try and get this back in the positive, because if you're already in the negative just on your fixed expenses, then you're never going to get ahead of your debt because you're constantly using credit cards or other things to pay for your bills or your groceries or things that you need to live, right? So you want to try to figure out where you can cut out some of your fixed expenses, and this doesn't have to be forever. Say we have like $400 worth of credit card payments every month. Well, once we get that credit card paid off, we don't have that $400 anymore, right? So hey, let's get our TV back, or maybe let's get our um gym membership back, right? So I'm not saying you shouldn't work out either. You can work out at home, go for walks, whatever. But these are sometimes things that you have to cut out while you're struggling or why you don't have the money until you can start saving and or until you can get that debt paid off. So this is kind of how you break it down and then how you assign every single dollar a job. Okay. So every single dollar of that $1,000, so you would write your $1,000 here, and each dollar of that has to be given a job, whether that's in your fixed expenses, your variable expenses, your savings, or your debt. And then you would want to first budget, right? And then once those bills came out, and or at the end of the pay period when you're about to refill your grocery envelope, then you would want to put what you actually spent. So if you budgeted $100 for groceries, but you only spent 75, well, then you would want to carry that $25 over and either put that towards saving or towards debt, or maybe towards something else that you overspent in, right? And then same thing with your fixed expenses. If you have your electric bill and you budget $100 for it, and for some reason this month it's only 75, again, you would take that $25 and give it another job. That way you know exactly where your money's going. And at the end of the month or the end of the pay period, you don't have to sit there and say, oh my gosh, where did all my money go? You know exactly where it went by keeping track of it. And this may feel like a lot of work, but at the end of the day, you're knowing exactly what's going on with your money, exactly where you're spending, and exactly where you maybe need to improve on. So, just as an example, when I started doing this, I learned very quickly that we were spending way too much money on snacks and energy drinks by just stopping at the red store. Or, sorry, my kids call it the red store, by stopping at the gas station. We would go and just get snacks for the kids or snacks for us or energy drinks or whatever. And that stuff adds up so fast. So when you start actually keeping track of your money, you learn very quickly where you can cut things out. We also cut out our TV for a while. So we had YouTube TV and it was like $80 a month. Well, instead of paying $80 a month for YouTube TV, we decided let's put that $80 towards debt. And that's how we were able to pay off our debt a lot faster, is because we cut things out and we really got a hold of our budget. So I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you budget your paychecks the same way, if you budget by paycheck, or if you budget monthly, or however you do. Let us know in the comments some tips and tricks you have, or maybe just some budgeting wins that you have. We would love to hear about it. And please give this video a like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends that may be struggling with their budgeting journey and or financially. And then just share it with your friends who could maybe just benefit from it or just enjoy seeing this kind of content. So I appreciate you all. Thank you for your support, and I hope you have a blessed day. Bye.